I hope I have enough battery power to last the week. I'm at 3 bars out of 4. 3 bars out of 4, but I'm not sure exactly how powerful my Duracell Ultra batteries in this happen to work. I sadly cannot recharge my Duracell rechargeable batteries, but I think I'll be okay. I've handled worse in my time. Either way, folks, it's time for a showdown. Welcome to what is unfortunately having to be renamed Roya Rockwood at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. It was originally supposed to be Royans at the 2016 Democratic National Convention, but unfortunately, I guess my entire media panel, which was meant to be 10 people, including myself, they all basically had other issues that they had to deal with this weekend and going into the week. So I'm basically the only one doing this again. Don't get me wrong, I am upset, but I will not let that negatively affect the course of this commentary special. You guys came for a show, oh, you are in for a treat. What can I say first? Okay. There are too many words to describe the course of this entire race. But from the looks of it, the Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party or the Grand Old Party, is on life support. Oh, I honestly didn't expect it would all come down to this, but it appears as it has. So as we originally thought at the beginning of the 2016 campaign season, you know, a lot of people thought that Hillary Rodham Clinton would go unopposed. People thought that Rodham wouldn't have any kind of contestant to go up against her. The original matchup was supposed to be Jeb versus Hillary, or Hillary versus Jeb, but as a result, we ended up getting Donald Trump on the Republican side in a shocking twist of fate. Or a shocking twist of corruption? Because later on, we would end up having Bernie Sanders, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, the independent from Vermont, that would basically run on the Democratic ticket to deliver his message to millions of people. He would end up getting about 12 million and change votes, not including caucuses. And I would say that, you know, it is a decent amount to contend against Hillary Rodham's 15 million and change. What with each of them having a good amount of states and a good amount of areas where they made draws, virtual ties. Because the way that the Democratic Party works, of course, in terms of the delegate count, there are no winner-take-all states, unless you get 86% of the vote. What instead happens is that delegates are delivered proportionately. And through time, we have seen Hillary get 2,205 or 2,202, and Bernie get 1,849. Both do not have enough to get the 2,383 required. But of course, that's where the superdelegates come in. The unpledged superdelegates, where over 400 superdelegates had gone onto Hillary's campaign before Lincoln Chafee or Jim Webb or even Bernie Sanders and other candidates decided to join in. What we have seen ever since is time after time again a lot of crazy stuff on the campaign trail, and especially regarding how the Democratic National Committee has negatively affected this entire campaign. What am I talking about in reality? In modern day. You know, fast forward here on to July 23, going into the 24th of 2016. What we are now seeing is a scenario where, you know, Hillary's had a massive email scandal for the past year and change or so. You know, the FBI and a whole bunch of other groups had been investigating her in the regard of using a private email server to basically discuss matters all across the board. A good amount of that information, thanks to the help of WikiLeaks and a whole bunch of other groups, including Lucifer, have confirmed that, yes, she had dealt with classified information, stuff that basically has the capital C in parentheses. And in recent time, we have seen the Democratic National Committee apparently commit so much crime, organized crime, that they would potentially rig their own elections just to have Hillary Rodham become the nominee, which, in my view, I believe does disqualify her. You know, Bernie has been the only scandal-free candidate out of the bunch. He's done everything by the book. He hasn't had any real issues, and this kind of a bombshell just now coming out, not even 2 days before the convention begins. It is clear to me that pledged delegates, superdelegates, voters, especially the independents, and I think even the Sanders campaign alike, will now have a heavily negative view of the way that the Democratic Party has become at this point. We don't know exactly what will happen during the main convention week. We honestly don't know. But if I have seen anything up to now, if I've learned anything up to this point, I am actually extremely happy that I decided to stick with Bernie all the way up to now. You know, at first, because Hillary was the only one on the ticket, I thought, I was going to be voting for her come the primary season and general election. And then bear in mind, when I found out about Bernie Sanders for the first time, I don't know if I actually remember viewing him in any political channels, even including C-SPAN, when I was still in Boston back in the early and mid-2000s. But, when I first found out about him full throttle, it was April of 2015. He just announced his run for president, and I ended up seeing him in an interview that he was having with Bob Schieffer on Face the Nation. This was, I think, like a matter of months before he decided to leave the show, right? And then John Dickerson came on. Since that time, we have seen him in at least five or more appearances on The Late Show, including being a guest speaker in most of them, or at least an interviewee, so to speak. We have seen him in so many different rallies where he's brought millions of people, thousands of people in different events, but millions of people all together, where we have seen so much enthusiasm that it's basically Barack Obama 2008. Only it's with an old white guy, which is actually... Well, no, he's not old. He's not old. As he said, I'm in good health. Yes, he said I'm in good health while throwing punches like he's a boxer. And of course, let's not forget that one time when he was running in the White House train stations... the Washington, D.C. train stations, I think, to attend a really important vote. All the while in Hillary land, Hillary Rodham's campaign was basically doing a whole bunch of private fundraisers. I mean, heck, let's not forget that one involving George Clooney's fundraiser, where apparently in order to get a seat you had to pay $250, $260. The entire campaign has been basically Wall Street versus the people, or the people versus Wall Street, literally. We could say they're on trial. We could say Wall Street is on trial right now. And it doesn't look good for them. As you can tell, I've been following the entire campaign season from front to back. I don't think I've missed a single day where I could basically say that I didn't see something. But unfortunately, with matters such as the new email scandal, thanks to the help of WikiLeaks coming into play, we are really seeing who we can trust in the mainstream media. And it appears that at this point, MSNBC and CBS are two of the stations that were the reason, or at least part of the reason why this all came into play. They apparently have some major form of reason for being the ones to have led this all into play. And let's see, do I have her up on screen? No, I do not have her up on screen. Crap. I'm going to have to look into... Apparently the CEO of the Democratic National Committee is also one of the reasons for this whole scandal falling into play. You know, there have been lawsuits filed against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Here in Massachusetts, we even have a lawsuit filed against Bill Clinton for voter and election fraud, because what happened here and also in Arizona was that I guess Bill Clinton was within 100 to 150 feet of a voting location during voting times while holding a rally, which is illegal under both Massachusetts and Arizona law. And that is, it's rather unfortunate that, over, I'd say over 200,000 people had to sign both petitions just to make this happen. Bill was one of my more favorite presidents, as I've mentioned during Sonic Hacking Contest 13 Done Quick, because, I would always play as him in NBA Jam and NBA Jam Tournament Edition. So, it's kind of a shame that, this is basically what the Clinton-Rodham lifestyle has unfortunately come to, but I'm sure that because of how Bill looks in this lovely wallpaper, I'm sure that he doesn't really want to take any fish. I'm sure that he doesn't want any of this to basically be a factor. I'd say that Bill's always been the one that's wanted to keep the peace. Hillary's always been the one that's caused the wacky craziness. But at this point, it is clear to me that the people can't trust the Democratic Party, nor the Republican Party. So when I look back at certain speeches that Bernie made while in the House of Representatives, involving where Congress must be held in contempt, the Republican Party must be held in contempt, the Democratic Party must be held in contempt, I'm starting to see more and more why we have such a major partisan divide and why we also have so many independents in this country now. And another thing, this campaign season has been, I'd say, the first where we have really seen the truth about what really goes on in the Democratic and Republican establishment because of the internet. Had we not had the internet have so many upgrades over time, we wouldn't know about what we know now. We wouldn't have WikiLeaks, we wouldn't have Lucifer, we wouldn't have a whole bunch of political articles from groups such as, Politico, U.S. Politics, PolitiFact, and if I had to say, again, the internet has been the reason why this campaign season is so different as opposed to virtually every other one. I'd say this season has had more coverage than any of the past seasons combined. I can't say all of the past seasons, that would be just downright ridiculous, but it is clear to me that, yes, everybody is truly paying attention. The American people don't know what the future of this place will be. I don't know either. And this is why we need to make sure that at the Democratic National Convention on the 25th, it is a contested convention. There's just too much on the line that it is... I understand why the Democrats, or at least a good amount of people, do not want Hillary as the nominee anymore. It is far too unsafe and far too imbalanced. But, I don't want this to be all about Hillary bashing. This is not what I meant this to be. But we actually do have some other things that we need to cover because, we actually don't fully have a clue as to who will be talking at the convention right now. For all that I know, we do have a good amount of celebrities, but at the same time, I don't know who exactly will be speaking at the convention itself, aside from them. So I'm going to look that up right now. Let's see. Come on, type in convention. That's the fastest I could do it with one hand. I'm not able to type this fast, mind you. This is not easy to do. Not at all. might as well correct myself on what I meant by on what I said in the pledged delegate count. Okay, let me correct myself on what I said earlier. Now, the pledged delegate count right now is 2202 to 1829. Hillary being the leader with 2202. The presumed count, if you include the super delegates at this time, is 2746 to 1875. But I cannot confirm nor deny any of this because, again, the superdelegates do not vote until the convention. It can still go either way at this point. We are totally unsure. But at this point, it appears that we don't really have too many people that we might be expecting, but we don't know exactly who will be showing up. So here's the presumed group of people that will be speaking. So night one, and bear in mind these slogans are more based on Hillary's campaign, so keep that in mind as I mention them. July 25 is known as United Together, and this is where we will see First Lady Michelle Obama, U.S. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and Dreamer activist Astrid Silva. Night 2, which will be known as A Lifetime of Fighting for Children and Families, you get former President Bill Clinton, as well as the mothers of the movement. These are mothers of children that have been murdered by gun violence. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like the mothers of like Trayvon Martin, and a whole bunch of other people. I can't really remember a lot of them off the top of my head at this point in time. It's 2:18 in the a.m. at the time of this recording. Night 3 will be known as Working Together, and that's where you have the current President and Vice President Barack Obama and Joe Biden, respectively. And then on the 28th, you have what will be known as Stronger Together, and that will involve both Chelsea and Hillary Rodham Clinton. But alongside that, we have a significant amount of representatives and I think senators and a whole bunch of other people all around the board. So here's who you're going to be seeing. And bear in mind, we don't know exactly which days are going to be here, but I can tell it's already going to be a massive convention. All I ask is that they pull a David Ortiz and have a big lunch. That's right, big Dominican lunch. What do you eat, mofongo? Pico pollo, negros, bananas. I'm sorry. I enjoy Kenan Thompson. Too cool of a guy. Okay, but I am so sorry. Okay, going into this. So right off the bat, again, this is in alphabetical order, not in order of who will be appearing at which time. So we start off with State Representative, I hope I don't butcher your name, Ramesh Akbadi of Tennessee, U.S. Representative from Ohio, Joyce Beatty, California Representative Xavier Becerra, Mayor Steve Benjamin of Columbia, South Carolina, U.S. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey, U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer of California, Pennsylvania U.S. Representative Brendan Boyle, Pennsylvania Representative Bob Brady. I expect Boyle and Brady to probably be during day one, since this is going to be a Pennsylvania or Philadelphia event. Let's see, Governor Jerry Brown of California, Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown, Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey Jr., Texas Representative Joaquin Castro, South Carolina Representative James Clyburn, New York Representative Joseph Crowley, Governors Andrew Cuomo and Mark Dayton of New York and Minnesota, respectively. And then let's not forget former Governor Howard Dean of Vermont. Not only are we going to win New Hampshire, but we're going to win South Carolina, and Oklahoma, and Arizona, and Texas, and North Dakota, and North Carolina, South Dakota. I'm sorry. I can't get enough of that. I would do that. Yeah! Oh, that was actually pretty fucking good. But, no. I'd have to do that during the day when nobody's around. I'm so sorry, everybody. It's just whenever I hear Howard Dean, I have to do that. It's a force of habit. Okay. Let's go to the next mayors. So we got Bill de Blasio from New York City. We got Mike Duggan from Detroit, Michigan. Yes, I say Detroit. I don't say Detroit. I say Detroit. If only because, I don't know, I guess the det just needs to be more emphasized, so to speak. I don't know. That's just how I've grown up listening to it nowadays. Especially thanks to my British community. State Representative and House Majority Leader Chris... I hope I don't butcher your name. Crisanta Duran of Colorado. It's probably Duran. New Mexico Representative Michelle Lujan Grisham. Mayor Luke Feeney of... I don't know how to pronounce this. Chillicothe, Ohio? I hope it's pronounced Chillicothe. Because I don't know. Chillicothe just doesn't sound exact. Chillicothe sounds more accurate to me. Oddly enough, Mayor Luke Feeney he doesn't have his own, what is this? He doesn't even have his own Wikipedia page. My goodness. That's horrible. Then, you have Minnesota State Representative Peggy Flanagan. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry, Peggy. I didn't expect that I would accidentally say your name that way. Okay, then you have Minnesota U.S. Senator and former comedian Al Franken. Now, I think I've heard that Al Franken could potentially run for president at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. Al Franken is one of the better people of his time. He deserves more love than he actually gets, for sure. Definitely. Arizona U.S. Representative Ruben Gallego. Well, however you pronounce that name, I'm sorry. Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles. Yes, Los Angeles, California. What Los Angeles did you think I was talking about? Oh, and this is probably going to be a very special one. Both from Arizona. You might remember them from the late 2000s and early 2010 decade. Former U.S. Representative Gabby Giffords, as well as Captain Mark Kelly, who, as you also know, his older brother... older, or is it just twin? His twin brother, Scott Kelly, ended up going out into space, and he was out there for a year. Much to my shock and surprise, I didn't know that if you're in space, you actually still grow. So yes, Scott Kelly, at least according to when he came back down to Earth, he was apparently 2 inches taller than his twin brother, who were basically the same height at the time that he left for space. That is astounding. So yeah, it shows how much, even in zero gravity conditions, how much gravity does an effect on you. Wouldn't have ever thought that. But you know, it's science. This is the kind of stuff we need to learn. Continuing on, I don't even think we're at the halfway mark. No, I'd say we're almost about at the halfway mark. My goodness, so many people. So let's see. New York U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand. Ah, yes, I remember that name. Tallahassee, Florida Mayor Andrew Gilliam. Or is it Gilliam? The G always has an odd pronunciation. It's like GIF versus GIF. I've always pronounced it GIF. And I will forever call it GIF. I don't want to call it GIF. What? Do you expect me to watch Guardians of the Galaxy? Do you expect me to play on my Ouija board? I guess I'll be eating some Gelly Bellies now. Okay. I know I'm using the complete mirror opposite, but hey. Yeah, let's get back into this. Who's next? Michigan, former governor of Michigan, Jennifer Granholm. Illinois U.S. Representative Luis Gutierrez. Iowa, former U.S. Senator from Iowa, Tom Harkin. Tom Harkin has shown up a few times on the campaign trail, but not really too much to say that I really know much about him. So I can't really say. Chairman of the South Carolina Democratic Party, Jamie Harrison, along with Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper. That's an odd name, Hickenlooper. Sounds like something from one of my... Oh, wait a minute, I forget. I come from a family filled to the rim with British and Irish people. Of course, or is that, German? I'll have to double check. Either way, I've got relatives in all three main areas. So yeah, that's the kind of name I love. I love that kind of name. It's unique. It's unique for an area such as North America. You have Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas, also a representative. Of course, since Tim Kaine is the vice presidential pick for Hillary Rodham, and bear in mind, she chose Tim Kaine because Wall Street apparently would defund her campaign if she chose Elizabeth Warren. What an amazing kind of scenario. But I'm surprised I completely almost forgot to bring up Tim Kaine. What I will say in Tim Kaine's defense is that, he said himself that he renders himself as boring. I'll be truthful. Tim Kaine doesn't look like the guy, he doesn't look like the kind of guy that would be a vice president. I don't know if he would want to be a president. But bear in mind, he was a mayor, he was the governor of Virginia, and he's a senator of Virginia currently. It would shock me, however, it actually doesn't shock me that Tim Kaine is actually the VP pick, more or less because Tim Kaine's been around, I think, the Obama administration for a good long while, because he was one of the first people, I think, to endorse Obama during campaign 2008, and one of the first people, I think, right off the bat to endorse Rodham during this campaign. So it doesn't feel odd that he would choose her. He would choose her. That she would choose him of all people. But still, it's kind of the oddest kind of scenario because, Tim Kaine has been, he's against things such as the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, which would basically require virtually every single international area involving trade to basically run on North American standards. This also involves, I think, our copyright standards, which are horribly dated. We need to move to copyleft law, which is actually one of the reasons why I'm glad that in certain scenarios, like remember when when Protect IP, SOPA, and CISPA were the talk of the town back from 2012 to 15. Bernie was against all of those acts. He was against Protect IP, he was against SOPA, he was against CISPA 1 and 2.0. And because I feel that if we were to have systems such as that implemented internationally, do you know how negatively that would affect content creators such as myself and a whole bunch of other people? It would negatively affect all of us. That's why I had implemented Roya and copyleft law in this group as a whole, in which basically we can use any content from any member of the team, and we don't have to worry about any kind of lawsuit or whatever. Same thing goes in the matter of personality rights. If it's for non-profit purposes, such as what I do here, you can work on this material without error. You can work on this material without error. You wouldn't ever have to worry about lawsuits. But I'll get into the matter of Roya and copyleft law in another video. I'm not going to do this now. But again, we don't truly know too much about Tim Kaine, but we know that he has been kind of a bit of a 50-50 shot here. But to be truthful, he doesn't really do anything for Democratic Party unity. So yes, expect a lot of chaos and mayhem at the convention. Maybe a good amount of booing too. Well, we're at it. And with that, let's go into the last 40-something% of the people, maybe a little less. So we have Mayor Jim Kenney of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kind of makes sense since it is the town that will be holding the convention. State Senator Ruben Kihuen I don't know if the H is silent, of Nevada. Minnesota U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar. I don't think Klobuchar makes sense. Klobuchar sounds more accurate. I like that. Sounds like a Pokemon. Klobuchar, I choose you. Klobuchar, use Wind Sprint. Wind Sprint. I wonder if that's an actual ability in any Pokemon game. Bear in mind, this comes from a guy that has not played Gen 5, 6, or 7. I stopped after Platinum. And that's only because we never got a Pokemon Gray, we never got Pokemon Z, and I know for a ducking fact we're not going to get Pokemon Eclipse or Pokemon Earth. Oh wait, there's Pokemon Go. You know, with Pokemon Go, they don't even need to make another Pokemon game. Just keep it at Pokemon Go. That's more than fine by me. That's more than fine by me. We can have Bill Cosby make all the jokes. Pokemon, with a pokey in the mountain, and the guy throws the ball, and the thing comes out, and they give a little face, and okay, enough. Back to the people. I am so horribly sorry, Amy Klobuchar, for having to do this to you. Alright, we have U.S. Representative Ted Lieu of California. It's either Liu or Liu. If I know anything from my Japanese pronunciations, it's probably Liu. Because, like, for example, Ryu. In Ryu, you know, a lot of people thought it was either Ryu, some people thought it was Ryu, but according to Marvel vs. Capcom, the first Marvel vs. Capcom, it's apparently just Rue. You know, like Rue from Winnie the Pooh. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ted Lieu. Liu. You can kind of hear the I, but not really. New York U.S. Representative Nita Lowey, or is it Lowy? Oh, wait a minute, it's neither. State Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes of Kentucky, Governor Terry McAuliffe of Virginia, U.S. Representative Gwen Moore from Wisconsin, Connecticut, yes I say Connecticut now, Senator Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy sometimes shows up on CBS 4 News for some odd reason. Since when do we do Connecticut's news? I don't know if Connecticut gets Massachusetts news. I know New Hampshire gets Massachusetts news, but that's another story for another time. Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, you might remember him from California. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton from D.C. And, you know, D.C. hasn't really gotten as much love as it rightfully deserves. Bernie is the only one that I'm aware of on the campaign trail that has said time and time again that that D.C., the District of Columbia, needs to become the state of the District of Columbia. The state of Washington, D.C. needs to become a reality. Just like the state of Puerto Rico, the state of Guam, the state of the Virgin Islands, the state of the Northern Mariana Islands, the American Samoa, and so on and so forth. They vote during the primaries. Why don't they get to vote during the general election? They deserve far better. Far, far better. And then, of course, let's not forget former governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley, who had all but one superdelegate during the main course of the entire race. That's it. All he had was one superdelegate. Heck, he didn't even really get a lot of votes during the Iowa caucus, which was rather shocking, but I guess not too much of a surprise. That's what led to that virtual dead heat tie, 49.8 to 49.6 Hillary in Iowa. But I think Bernie ended up coming out with more pledged delegates at the end because of the state convention, which was still a major positive. Let's see, where was I left? Oh, right. Nancy Pelosi, the House Minority Leader of California. I remember Nancy Pelosi. You might remember her from such events such as Obamacare becoming passed, as well as a whole bunch of other things, such as the Republicans taking over the Senate and the House. Not in that order, but it's unfortunate. But then again, that was at a time where I guess the Democrats were truly not doing their job at the time. That is the only reason why the Republicans took over. But we will definitely see the Democrats take over one or both pieces of legislature. We don't know exactly if it will all come down to the general election in that regard, but from the way that it looks, a lot of seats will flip. A lot of seats will flip because we've seen the Republicans do nothing, such as them either ignoring, either saying nothing, staying silent, or voting against the 9/11 first responders bill. And I'm going to bring this up again, just as I had during part 4 of the during day 4 of Roya Rockwood at the 2016 Republican National Convention. If the Republicans truly did care about their Blue Lives Matter rhetoric, they would have voted for the 9/11 first responders bill. There's actually a website that you can go to. It's on Tumblr, in which you can basically see the entire list of senators and representatives that had voted against it. Why would you vote against something that would help out your own kind? You say to Blue Lives Matter, vote for these people if you truly give a duck about them. At this point, it's clear that the Republicans don't care. That is why we need to take back the House and the Senate. And who knows, maybe Nancy Pelosi will become the House Majority Leader yet again. Who else will be showing up? Mayor, is it Kasim or Kasim Reed of Atlanta, Georgia? I'd have to double check that. And alongside that, no relation in name because they're spelled differently. Reed is R-E-E-D. Harry Reid of Nevada, the U.S. Senate Democratic leader, he is R-E-I-D. Then we have California U.S. Representative Adam Schiff. Hey! Amy Schumer's cousin Chuck Schumer, senator from New York. South Carolina former state representative Bakari Sellers. That's an odd name to have for a first name, Bakari, followed by what sounds like a rather European name, Sellers. It's like you got the best of Europe and Asia put into one. This is a Eurasian person. They're automatically cool. Then, of course, let's not forget Senator Jeanne Shaheen from New Hampshire, as well as State Senator Pat Spearman from Nevada, Los Angeles, California Mayor Antonio, I hope I do not butcher your name here, Villaraigosa? Now, Mayor Villaraigosa, he actually showed up recently in the Late Late Show with James Corden. Because, you know how James Corden has a block known as Take a Break. And in Take a Break, he basically just takes over the job of somebody for a full hour or more. And in the case of the LA mayor, in the case of Antonio, Antonio basically let James Corden take his job for, I'd say, a few hours while I guess he went out to lunch or did whatever the duck he wanted to. And at the very end, James had this lovely press conference where he was making executive orders, but after Antonio came back, he had to have the bouncers pull him away. What a ducking shame. What a ducking shame. Now, some of these people are also not mentioned here, but, we have Marty Walsh and U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, the mayor and senator from Massachusetts, respectively. Marty Walsh is our mayor here in Boston. Who they do not mention, to much of my shock and surprise, is that according to CBS 4 News here in Boston, Joe Kennedy III is going to the convention. He is expected to speak before Elizabeth Warren. Whether or not this is all confirmed or not, again, it's kind of one of those balls up in the air, who will catch it kind of scenarios. We don't know fully whether or not Joe Kennedy III will be there, but if he is there, if he does show up, he will be there before Elizabeth Warren. And lastly, we have the last three people, at least to our knowledge: U.S. Representative Maxine Waters from California, Mayor Karen Weaver of Flint, Michigan. I think that kind of makes sense given their whole issue with lead in the waters. We actually did have... Let me be clear. The issue that's going on in Flint, Michigan regarding their lead water crisis, at least, I'd say at least I'd say 20 other states actually suffer from this, either on a minor to major level. It's usually minor to moderate, but but the reason why Flint was mentioned more than the rest of the others is because it has gotten so much out of proportion that it's virtually unhealthy to live there right now. That's another reason why you won't see me in Michigan, actually. That's why I would rather stay here in Massachusetts, and also potentially also have a home base in New York for other work matters. But that's another story for another time. Alongside that, actually here in Massachusetts, we had a lead water crisis briefly between 2008 and 2009, but more or less around the time that we lost Michael Jackson back in June of 2009. It was kind of on the rise, but I guess it kind of remedied itself. Fortunately. I mean, heck, even here in Lynn, I think in October of 10, we also had another issue with this, but I think that was actually because of, bad construction with the sewers at the time. And heck, now we're paying even worse sewer bills here in Lynn as a result. It's a ducking shame. Heck, I've never seen a sewer bill be about 200% more than the water bill. Our water bill a month is usually about $25 to $35, and our sewer bill usually goes as high as $60, $70, $80. That's unacceptable. We definitely need to change that. I would rather have the higher-ups, those making $100,000 to $162,000 up in West Lynn, paying for this by means of taxes. But that's another matter for another time. I'll talk about that during campaign 2017. And lastly, in the matter of the alphabetical order, we have Karen Weaver of Flint, Michigan. Sorry. I already said Karen Weaver. I'm looking at Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, Governor Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, and I'm reading Karen Weaver. I am so horribly sorry, Tom Wolf. See, this is what happens when you do these kinds of commentaries on the fly. I'm already 43 minutes into this. But, of course, we are not going to end there. We have a lot, and I stress, a lot of celebrities that will potentially show up, too. In terms of speakers, you can tell this is already a massive celebrity-funded event. But, of course, we have retired professional basketball player and former martial arts specialist Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Ah, yes, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Why isn't he in a lot of NBA Jam titles? No, seriously, whenever I want to play a basketball game, I always wonder, where the duck is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? He's actually, I've always praised the dude over the years. He's actually one of the wiser people we've seen in his community. And for what it's worth, if we ever had an NBA Legends season where it's just NBA legends duking it out with each other, I would like to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the forefront. That would definitely be an awesome moment. Alongside that, we have current professional basketball players Jason and Jaren Collins, alongside Lena Dunham and America Ferrera. You might remember America Ferrera from, Ugly Betty. Yes, Ugly Betty, the U.S. adaptation of La Fea Más Bella, which was later renamed to Betty La Fea, if my memory serves correctly. Either that or it was renamed to something else. It's ridiculous to know I remember that series. I grew up with it back in 2006. July or August of 2006. It was either on Telemundo or Univision. I don't think it was on Telefutura. I'd have to double check that if it were correct. That'll be something I'll see later on. They'll be speaking together. So then you have Star Jones, the journalist. You have actress Deborah Messing. Deborah Messing? Is that who I think it is? It's Grace from Will and Grace. Yay! And of course, let's not forget Chloe Grace Moretz. She'll speak at the convention on Wednesday, apparently. In terms of performers, we're gonna get Snoop Dogg. Yes, Snoop Dogg. You might remember Snoop Dogg from certain things on this channel as The Next Level, Gust Planet Revisited Part 1, where whenever Sonic enables anti-gravity mode, you also get instant Snoop mode. Yes, I don't need drugs to get high. Who said that on the forums? I'm gonna have to check who that was. I don't know if that was Lord Zernum or if that was another member. I'm gonna have to go back into the forums and check. It's in the general video thread on SSRG. Alongside that, we have Fergie. Yes, Fergie DeHamel. Yeah, she'll headline. She is headlining a charity benefit show at the convention. Going back to Snoop Dogg for a sec. He'll be performing at a concert following the convention's final night as well. You have Cyndi Lauper and Idina Menzel, or as what did John Travolta call her? Adele Dazeem. Oh man, David Letterman had a field day with Adele Dazeem. That was just too funny for comfort. Too funny for comfort. Cyndi Lauper and Idina Menzel will be performing at the Women's Luncheon. And then you have Lady Gaga, you have Lenny Kravitz, you got Jazzy Jeff. Yes, Jazzy Jeff. One half of the dynamic duo from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, involving Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, and Jazzy Jeff. So, Lady Gaga, Lenny Kravitz, and Jazz will be performing at a Camden Rising concert at the BB&T Pavilion in Camden, New Jersey, across the Delaware River from Pennsylvania, on the afternoon of July 28. The event is co-hosted by George E. Norcross III. And according to Wikipedia, other celebrities who will be attending will be Alicia Keys, Eva Longoria, Demi Lovato, and Katy Perry. Unlike in past conventions, sitting cabinet members will not be speaking at the event. The White House has decided that barring cabinet officers from addressing the convention will send a signal about the primacy of the Obama administration's responsibility to manage the government and serve the American people and avoid legal or political difficulties. Wikipedia's words, not mine. But alongside that, is there anybody else, according to CBS, that's going to be showing up that we might be expecting? I'm just going through here just for a quick review, because I don't know exactly who else is going to be showing up. Erica Alexander. Did I mention Erica Alexander? Nope, Erica Alexander is also going. Okay, apparently Wikipedia did not mention that. Did I mention Tony Goldwyn? No, I did not mention Tony Goldwyn. So yeah, he'll be showing up too. Lovely. And of course, I think the rest will speak for themselves when they show up. But yeah, other issues that will come up, obviously, is the way that we handle primaries, because, this primary season was it was a total and utter mess. The fact that we have 13 states under federal investigation for voter or election fraud, including Arizona, Nevada, California, even here in Massachusetts, and let's not forget, in New York, over 3 million independents couldn't vote. Whether you wanted to it didn't matter who you wanted to vote for, whether you wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Donald Trump, or anybody else, you couldn't vote in New York if you were an independent because of the closed primary system. And bear in mind, 45% to 46% of this entire nation is currently made up of independents. Independents will be who will make up the general election's outcome. Who knows? For all we know, actually, they could vote for Bernie in a write-in form. They could vote for Jill Stein. They could vote for Gary Johnson and Bill Weld. If Hillary's the nominee, it's all going to come down to the independents. They'll probably vote for third-party candidates, and that will definitely sway the outcome more than it has ever become. And of course, with the ongoing email scandal that's going on with the DNC, I'm expecting a lot of battles will be handled on the convention floor. to the point where we don't know how the Democratic National Committee will come out of this. But we know they're in shambles. They're on life support. If they do not apologize and make up to this, if they do not disqualify Hillary because of everything that's gone on, we might actually see a lot of crazy things. Whether or not all that happens, though, is completely up to how the people and the delegates will handle everything next week. But alongside that, I think I'll say it right now. The unpledged superdelegate system that was implemented to basically prevent candidates such as Jimmy Carter from being president again. I'll be truthful. As early as 2012 and 13, I had actually said that I wanted Jimmy Carter to be president. I actually had a whole bunch of stuff in mind to make Jimmy Carter the president in 2016. I feel horrible that he couldn't run. I feel horrible that he didn't run. But what he did say in interviews is right. Because of things such as the superdelegate system and a whole bunch of other new mechanics and whatnot that is in the Democratic Party, it has made it virtually impossible for really good candidates such as Bernie Sanders to really have an easy ride. So it is clear to me that we need to abolish superdelegates, and we've already seen states such as New Hampshire, I think even Maine, as well as Washington State, say they want to do away with superdelegates altogether in campaign 2020. It makes no sense to keep superdelegates in play. Let us also not forget the matter on superdelegates was actually a matter that had negatively affected campaign 2008. Most of them also being in favor of Hillary, oddly enough. Actually, no, not oddly enough. They knew what they were doing long ago. It's only now that they got caught. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't know what to expect. I don't know who will be showing up in regards to how the scandal will be handled. Everything is all up for debate. But at this point, I feel horrible that we don't really have our media panel. So, if my media panel shows up later in the week, they'll show up. If they don't, then, I'm on my own. I'm on my own. It's a ducking shame that I have to be on my own in this case, but, whatever happens, happens. I'll just go with the flow. I'll just go with the flow just as I always have. Better than nothing. Far better than nothing. So with that said, I will end this commentary here because I've got really nothing more to really say at this point. This is just, again, predictions and anticipations, but we'll see. We'll see what happens on the convention floor, and we'll see if it becomes the ultimate political brawl in modern Democratic history or of all time. So with that said, I'm out. I'm out. Get ready for a showdown. It's showtime at the crack. Oh, no. Last week was Showtime at the Ohio, which was basically a play on words for Showtime at the Apollo. At the Apollo, Showtime at the Apollo. So this week is going to be Saved by the Broken Bell. Yes, Saved by the Broken Bell. All right. Either way, get ready for a show, kids. It's go time. Good night. Or good morning. I don't know when this episode's coming out. Either way, take care. Have fun.